Okay, so now we are moving forward in developing AI agents in this AI agent tutorials. Now, up to this point, we have actually created agents using Azure AI Foundry SDK. We have used Azure AI Foundry portal, as well as we have used code first approach also. You have used some of the external tools and some of the tools like Code Interpreter. Now, if you really want to develop an enterprise-ready application or AI agent for your organization, then you have to understand one thing, and that is known as semantic kernel. That's what we are going to focus today in this particular video. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this video. My name is Maruti Makwana. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and I'm here to teach you the modern trends of development in AI. Today, we are going to focus on semantic kernel, which is very important thing if you want to develop AI agents or generative AI applications. Now, let's get started with this. So, the first question is, what is semantic kernel? The definition says that semantic kernel is a lightweight open source development kit. Basically, it's an SDK that lets you easily build AI agents and integrate the latest AI models into your C#, Python, or maybe Java kind of a code base. Now, this is basically going to help you in taking care of all the multi-agent kind of scenarios, no matter what kind of a language model you're using. And if you're using multiple language models or multiple version specific language model choices, then this is something which is perfect for you. If someone asks me what is semantic kernel, I always say that it's nothing but an efficient middleware. It actually always serves as an efficient middleware that enables rapid delivery of enterprise grade solutions. As you can see in this diagram right now, which I have taken from the official site of semantic kernel only, and you can see this is the centralized part, which is actually your semantic kernel. It actually allows you to associate with the latest AI models, not only GPT models. You can use various models which are available in your Azure AI Foundry model catalog. And whichever model you are going to use, if the versioning are happening in that model, so basically if the new versions of that models are actually coming in that, semantic kernel is flexible enough to associate with those latest AI models. It allows you to write a code in various choice of programming languages because this SDK is currently supporting .NET, Java, and Python. And not only that, when we are going to see the development using semantic kernel, you'll see that it has some of the coolest functionalities like plugin and hooks and filters, which are basically perfect when you want to develop a multi-agent kind of an application scenario and you want to orchestrate between those multiple agents with that. This all cool features we are going to see in the lab, but as of now, we need to understand the architectural part of semantic kernel. If I continue with this same question, that what exactly the semantic kernel, and if I do a deep dive in that, the first thing which we will get is it's a platform for generative AI development, and it includes multiple features. Maybe some of the features I will try to show you in our labs. Some of this we will see in the upcoming labs. But the first thing which it is doing is it is behaving like an AI service connector. So basically, it connects the code to AI services from different providers under a common interface which are supported, and is actually associated with services like chat completion, text generation, and many more. So when we have seen the multiple models like small language model or large language models, we have seen that there are different types of models which are available. No matter what kind of service you are preferring, this can associate and connect with that particular service, and it allows you to utilize that. It has a memory connectors also, which expose vector stores from other providers under a common interface. Basically, that's going to associate with the grounding data and the vector data store with that. It has the prompts templates associated with that. So you can combine instructions, user input, and function inputs into a reusable format. Whenever we create agent, we know instruction of the agent is very important part. Now onwards, when we are going to develop agent with semantic kernel, we will improvise those instructions. We will specify certain templates. We will specify certain rules and customizations inside that. And all of these things will work fine. Prompt templates are going to allow AI models to execute predefined steps dynamically. We'll see how. Then it also has functions and plugins. Now we have discussed about Azure function, custom function kind of things, and even if you have some custom logic created in OpenAPI specified tool. This is allowing you to create some kind of a functions and plugins, which are basically a containers for functions that are registered with the kernel. So once it is registered, these functions can be invoked by the AI through prompt templates. So basically, you're maybe going to have multiple plugins as a functions, and then each function is maybe going to have some specific logic. And on the fly, dynamically, you can associate with those plugin functions and you can invoke them. This is all going to happen with the kernel. And last but important feature, which is filters, it allows custom actions to be performed before and after functions or prompt is invoked. So think about this, that sometimes before you take certain actions, you want to do some pre or maybe some post kind of a logical executions with that. In that kind of cases, filters are actually going to help you in that. So basically, semantic kernel, or what you call agent framework, or you can call it STK, is nothing but an extension to the core semantic kernel platform with support for multiple kind of agents. So maybe you can use chat completion agent or OpenAI assistant agent, or maybe Azure AI Foundry agent. All these are integrated, and that's the reason we are learning this. Remember, guys, this is also a very important part of AI 102 agent development. This is a separate certification course associated with AI engineer kind of a title. And if you're now going to pursue this certification exam, you need to have a basic knowledge of semantic kernel agent development. So this is something which is very important concept from certification point of view also. Now, right now, we are going to focus on Azure AI Foundry agent specification with semantic kernel, not about the other things, but obviously those samples are also available. If you want, at the end of this particular course, I have mentioned some of the resources in which so many semantic kernel examples with various programming language samples I have given in that. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching our videos on YouTube and on our website, which is skillset.club. I'm really happy with your comments. I'm really happy with your interactions. Some of you have actually sent me an email also. Some of you have connected a call with me. I'm really happy with the response which I'm getting from this. Still, I want to request you that if possible, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is really going to help us to reach out to more people, and it's also going to help you so that you cannot miss any new updated content which is coming from our side. So thank you so much. Happy learning. Now, let's talk about some more features about semantic kernel. Like, the biggest reason most organizations are actually going to use semantic kernel is this is enterprise ready. There are certain other services also which allows you to do multi-agent kind of a development. But most of them are just focusing on easiness. None of them are mostly focusing on three important factors which enterprises focus: security, governance, and then reusability. Basically, we need a code which should be more manageable and more flexible without compromising security and governance. Microsoft and other Fortune 500 companies are already leveraging semantic kernel because it's flexible, modular, and observable. It's backed with security enhancing capabilities like telemetry support and hooks and filters, so you'll feel confident that you are delivering a responsible AI solution at scale. All these advantages are making semantic kernel class apart. And that's the reason they're saying that semantic kernels was designed to be future-proof, easily connecting your code to the latest AI models evolving in the technology as it advances. Because we don't know which language model is going to be perfect for our project right now. Suppose right now you're using one of the specific language model, like let's say GPT-4o, but maybe very soon a newer version of that came up, or maybe some other alternative came up, and you want to use that language model with your application code. Obviously, there is a possibility of this, and if you're planning for that, you don't want to depend on some particular one specific SDK or some particular language model. Also, you do not want to remodify or change your code again and again because of this. Well, if this is a problem, solution is semantic kernel. When the new models are released, you'll simply swap them out without needing to rewrite your entire code base. That's a big thing. For a developer who's working in organization, they can relate with me, I'm sure. Automatic business processes. Semantic kernel combines prompt with existing APIs to perform actions. By describing your existing code to the AI models, you'll be called to address requests, and then when a request is made to the model, calls a function. And semantic kernel is a middleware which is translating the model's request to a function call and then passes the result back to the model. This whole process which I've explained here, which is automating these business processes, we are going to see in our next lab, where we are going to develop agent with semantic kernel. So how to create a function, how to associate that as a plugin, how to invoke them, how to deal with the whole process end to end with the semantic kernel, we'll see that part. As I said, this is modular, this is extensible, this is making your code flexible as well as loosely coupled and reusable. Now, by adding your existing code as a plugin, you'll maximize your investment by flexibly integrating AI services through the set of out-of-box connectors. Yes, Like you can see in this diagram, you have semantic kernel, which is allowing you to associate your app with multiple plugins, and then using those plugins, you can actually integrate with the other AI apps as well. Suppose if you want to integrate ChatGPT, Copilot, or some other AI specific applications into your application, that integration is going to be also possible with semantic kernel. Because semantic kernel use open API specification like Microsoft 365 Copilot. So you can share any extension with other pro or low code kind of a developers in your company, and basically whatever which is developed by one particular team of the company can be reused multiple times, and semantic kernel is going to make it possible with ease. Okay, now let's focus on the kernel and how exactly kernel is actually going to be capable to do all these things. So let's have a look at this particular diagram. If you check this one, the kernel is basically a central component of the semantic kernel, and that's the reason the name of this thing is semantic kernel. At its simplest, the kernel is a dependency injection container. Now, anyone who's comfortable with programming languages like C#, Java, I'm sure you all familiar with dependency injection, which is basically going to inject certain piece of logical components at runtime. Now, this is actually same thing which is happening with the kernel also. This kernel is going to manage all of the services and plugins which are necessary to run your AI application. So if you provide all of your services and plugins to the kernel, then they will run them and be seamlessly used by the AI as needed. So basically, whenever it's going to be required, it's going to inject that and it's going to use that. And that's how it's going to happen all at runtime. Now, because the kernel has all the services and plugins necessary to run both native code and AI services, so whatever code you are going to develop and maybe the AI services which you're trying to integrate and utilize inside this, it is going to be used by nearly every component with the semantic kernel SDK to power your agents. Now, you can see right now, this is actually basically a diagram which is showing you that this is your application at one end. These are the models, basically the language models which are available on Azure OpenAI, as well as the other models which are available in this. And then your kernel, which is actually placed here as a centralized part, is actually going to take care of everything in this. Now, this is basically a process which is starting from this particular left to right kind of a circle. And this whole process which is happening right now is something which I will explain in the next slide. But in this case, when you're doing this thing, this is basically a semantic kernel SDK, which is playing an important role with this. And this means that if you run any prompt or code in semantic kernel, the kernel will always be available to retrieve the necessary service and plugins which are available in that. Now you can see whether you do a model selection and you select a particular AI service which needs to be used with this, or maybe you're trying to render certain prompt or you want to invoke the AI service with this whole process step by step is going to be taken care by kernel. Not only that, we have certain hooks, we have certain filters, which are basically helping me to take care of everything. Maybe if I want to take care of the reliability, or I want to take care of the responsible AI principles, or maybe I want to monitor this whole process with the end-to-end configuration, I can do this thing with the help of the semantic kernel, because that's basically going to help me to keep track of everything with this. So starting from invoking the prompt or giving the results which are generated based on that, everything is going to be managed by the centralized middleware. I hope this diagram is making these things very clear. You can take a screenshot of this particular diagram and then you can understand this steps which I'm showing you right now. So this is extremely powerful because it means that you as a developer have a single place where you can configure and most importantly monitor your AI agents. For example, when you invoke a prompt from the kernel, when you do so, the kernel will select the best AI service to run the prompt. As I said in the first step earlier, it's going to build the prompt using provided prompt template. It's going to send the prompt to the AI service and it's going to receive and pass that response, whichever is coming from the AI service. And finally, it's going to return the response from the LLM to your application, which is going to be visible to your end users after that. Now, throughout this entire process, you can create events, you can use middlewares that are triggered at each of the steps. This means that you can perform actions like logging, providing status update to users, and most importantly, the responsible AI integrations with this all at one single place. And remember, guys, these are all those important things which every developer is going to keep in mind while developing a complex or an enterprise specific application. Now, if you have understood all those things, these are the basics of semantic kernel, the whole step-by-step lab with Semantic Kernel SDK is something which we are going to see in the next video. I hope you understood this video. If that is true, now I really want to request you on one thing, that the number of subscribers on our channel are very, very less. Actually, only 9% people are actually subscribing to our channel. So if you really want to motivate us in working with this kind of things, if you really want me to put more free videos on similar kind of AI and Azure related topics on YouTube, I request you to please subscribe to this channel, and you can also hit that bell icon so that whenever we publish some new content, you'll get notified with that. That's it from my side for this day. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.